Okay. Welcome to Off Topic with Tim and Matt, our scrappy little sports podcast where we always go off topic. First topic, pregnant pauses to help Wayne. Okay, let's talk about hockey. All right.
All right.
The big news.
Hockey.
The big news.
Huge.
Huge news. What is it, Matt Macri?
Abbotsford Canucks.
Abbotsford Canucks. It's not these guys,
Cup.
but I guess we can talk about it for a little while. Just kidding. Calder Cup. AHL Championship.
Yes.
The Abbey Canucks are killing it. And I understand from very good sources, there's quite the frenzy going on in your hometown of Abbotsford right now.
It's crazy. It's huge because they weren't really favored going in. I don't remember what the record was, but they weren't really favored. But they've won round after round after round, and it's heated up and heated up and heated up to the point where they came back to Abbotsford after the first two games in Charlotte, 1-1. And then they won the next two. So it was up 3-1. So last night, Saturday night, the 21st?
Correct.
21st. June 21st, in my hometown of Abbotsford and the Abbotsford Arts and Recreation Center, they went head-to-head with the Charlotte Checkers.
The Charlotte Checkers. Okay.
And it went to overtime. 3-3 goes to overtime, and Charlotte won.
It builds drama, man.
Yeah. So now the Canucks, because they do the 2-3-2 playoff. So they do 2 in Charlotte, 3 here, 2 there.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So now they got to go back to win one in Charlotte. They got to win either Game 6 or Game 7 in Charlotte. They won one there before, so they can do it again. But it's been huge.
It'd be kind of cool if they lost and then won it in Abbotsford because they're selling out.
But they don't come back to Abbotsford. Remember I just went over that? 2 in Charlotte.
So this is going to Game 7.
Yeah. Game 7 stays in Charlotte. 6 and 7 in Charlotte.
Oh, 6 and 7 in Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 3, 4, 5 was in Abbotsford.
It's math.
Yeah.
Keep going. Okay. Yeah.
There's numbers involved. So, anyways, so they're gonna play Charlotte. It would have been huge if they won last night, lifted the Calder Cup in Abbotsford. They did it, hopefully. But the huge story there is a local boy, Surrey, BC, born and raised, Archdeep Baines, has just been lighting it up there in this series. He had a hat trick the other night, I do believe, or 3 points, and yeah, he's doing great. 24-year-old kid.
When was he drafted? Does it say?
Undrafted.
Oh, wow. So they signed him undrafted.
Signed him undrafted.
Look at him.
Yeah.
So I wonder where he played after. Did he go there right after junior? Where did he do his junior?
I don't have all that information, Tim. I didn't do a full bio deep dive.
There should be something on his little thingy there, though, shouldn't there? Career stats? Let's say under bio. WHL, okay.
Signed as a free agent by Vancouver, March 11th, 2022.
WHL Central Division first All-Star team, and he didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
God, that's weird, eh?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, good BC boy there. So.
Hometown.
Yeah. So, let's see if we can do a quick early life. Amateur
Professional.
Hockey. Red Deer Rebels.
Red Deer. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, undrafted. Good for him.
Yeah.
First Asian descent person to win the Bobby Clark Trophy. How did he not get drafted?
No, right?
That makes no sense.
Yeah, but on March 11th, 2022, he signed an entry-level contract with the Vancouver Canucks.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the Canucks are probably going to lock that guy up.
Yeah, they should. I mean, it's been crazy. So, I mean, the playoffs here, he's been doing really well this year.
Superb.
Yeah.
It's, I, being a Habs fan, I went to see a few games when the Hamilton Bulldogs were in town.
Right.
And there weren't a lot of people there. And I could get free tickets.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. I'm cheap. And I threw the radio, I could get the free tickets. But they couldn't give out any free tickets to anybody when the Vancouver Canucks farm team, because that's when it was Calgary's.
Right.
And even then, people would say it's not sold out. It still wouldn't sell out. I'm like,
Yeah.
How could they not sell? And it's just, the Valley, it's really not that big an events town.
I've been to a couple of games.
Yeah.
And it's busy.
Yeah.
It's maybe it's not sold out, but it's busy.
Yeah.
And there's a big following, and you're talking like people coming from Langley, Chilliwack, Mission, not just Abbotsford participating in this on a regular basis. Right. I know season ticket holders that come from Surrey every day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it is a really good show. I've enjoyed every game that I went to.
The games I went to were really good. I mean, it's a nice, first of all, I really like the facility.
Yes.
It's a nice place. It's not like super fancy or luxury, but it's it's clean.
Yep.
And it's easy to get in and out of, and the concession's fine, and I've really enjoyed it. The hockey these days, fans are a little different. So your favorite team is say Philadelphia or something.
Kings.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Kings. So the Kings farm town is coming to town, or there's a WHL game in Surrey with Vancouver. Giants.
Right.
Vancouver Giants. And, you're a top prospect in the, Kings organization is playing for Spokane, and you want to go see the Spokane game because you want to see this kid play live.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people went, or Habs fans would go when PK Subban was with Montreal and their farm team. They want to see PK play.
Right.
Right? So that's sort of the way, you don't get a lot of team loyalty anymore.
Yeah.
It's the individual. Fantasy sports has a lot to do with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is really good because it's selling out. Everyone's really excited. And win, lose, or draw, this is going to add to season ticket holders next year. People are going to go back next year.
Yeah.
And you'll get that many more, fans and build a fan base.
And it's shown people that it's exciting.
Yeah.
Right? Like people have gone because now, they're winning. They're in the playoffs. We got to go check it out. Wow, this is really good hockey. It is really good hockey. The owner of the company I work for gets season tickets for it, and he gives them out to everybody. That works there.
So I could get some for the Habs, and you're telling me this now.
Well, maybe I could try. You could try. But what he does is if he can't make it, he does a raffle.
Oh, okay.
The HR lady sends it out. Who's interested? Everybody that's interested puts their name in. They pull a name out of a hat.
Nice.
And they get the tickets, right?
Good.
And it's really good because, and if you just went to the last one, you can't win the next one, right? There's got to be one in between. So it's not the same person winning every time. So, I could try and get you tickets.
Okay.
We'll work on it.
I could buy some tickets.
And they're not that expensive. They're like $20.
See, that's the nice thing, right? Like, WHL, because we had the Bruins, which is WHL, and then they left, and then the BCHL came back in.
Right.
With the Chilliwack Chiefs. And honestly, not having played the game or being a huge, connoisseur of the game, I couldn't really tell the difference between BCHL and WHL.
Right.
But you go to an AHL game and you can really tell the difference. Like they're playing for a paycheck. There's guys that are 25, 30 years old playing. Yeah. They made a career out of the AHL. It's another level of hockey, and it's like you said, it's exciting, it's entertaining, and it's affordable. Getting to a Canucks game can be just like impossible.
Yeah.
If you're from the Valley, you got to drive either all the way downtown or you got to go to Scott Road SkyTrain station, take SkyTrain all the way back, and come all the way back, get in your car, drive it's a pain, right?
Well, it was like the Lions game. I wanted to go see the Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And then watch the opening Lions game.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to go to Vancouver to do it.
It's
so rough.
Even
if it was still at the P&E grounds there at the Empire Stadium there, I would have gone to that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go past that boundary.
Yeah.
And
getting downtown and getting out, it's just it can be a real hassle. It's worth it sometimes, obviously. But you have to be willing to put the money up. But with this, it's entertaining hockey. It's $20. And if you're in Surrey or Langley or whatever, you're going against traffic.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to be stuck in traffic the whole time. And I really hope this builds a really good following.
Yeah. Archie Baines. Games played in the playoffs here, 23. 7 goals, 15 assists.
Point per game.
Yeah. The guy's 22 points.
Fantastic.
Season, he did 13 games with the Canucks, only got 1 goal.
Okay.
But he did 50 games with the Abbotsford Canucks, 11 goals, 32 assists, 43 points.
He's bringing it, man. And how old is he?
24 years old.
Okay, so he's still reasonably young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
nice. Very cool.
Very cool.
Okay.
All right.
So
what else do we have for hockey?
Well, NHL wrapped up.
Yes.
I have to show this. And of course, congratulations to the Florida Panthers, who were clearly the better team. It was not a fluke.
Oh, crazy.
They, those last 2 games when it mattered, they're the ones that brought it. And there's all sorts of chirping about, McDavid and, the Oilers. And, as McDavid says he wants to be traded now. And he's going off against the coach and all this kind of stuff. Okay, it's noise. It's noise. Just so we're clear. He's not going anywhere.
No.
But sometimes it's fun to speculate. So one of the speculations on the Habs fans Facebook page that comes up on mine is that, he wants to be traded, and there's a CGI of him wearing a Habs jersey, right? So he's not going. He's not going anywhere. They're going to sign him, and he wants to take. He's willing to take a little bit less money to build a team around him. Right? He doesn't want to bankrupt him at $50 million a season.
Yeah.
And then he's the only guy. He wants to win.
Yeah.
Despite what he might have said, he was pissed off at the end and he went off the coach or some stupid thing. I don't know. He didn't score too many goals. So,
and like I said, I do believe he was playing injured.
They all are.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
They all are. You're all bumped and bruised there. But he wasn't putting the puck in the net.
No.
And Florida was taking it to him hard.
Yep.
They just kept hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And that's, they knew that's what they had to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
You got Sam Bennett, Kachuk over there. And what's his name?
The Rat.
The Rat. Marchand.
Brad Marchand. My team never had a problem stopping Brad Marchand. I was going to say that right now. But, I watched, when Montreal lost in 5 to Tampa, because that's what they do with Tampa is they lose to 5. And they beat them once. And literally all their top players were injured. And they finally won Tampa. And it still counts. I don't care. But at the end of the series, Tampa won in 5 games. And it's in Tampa. And Carey Price is dragging his broken ass off the ice. And Craig Simpson said, you know what? Look, by the time you get to that Stanley Cup final, that first game, everybody's hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody's hurt. Everybody's injured. Everybody's exhausted. And it comes down to one single factor, who wants it more.
Yep.
They're all playing through injuries. Everybody.
Yep.
And you're freezing the knees, and you're freezing the shoulders, and you're taping the wrists. And it's, there's ice and the whole 9 yards every single game. And Tampa just wanted it more than...
Well, I can tell you, too, in this last series with the Florida and the Oilers, is Florida didn't look like they were tired.
No.
They didn't look like they were hurt.
They found it.
They found the energy. They found the steam to come out there. And they were laying the hits.
Yeah.
The Oilers were trying. I mean, there was that one game where it just escalated into tomfoolery.
Yeah.
But the Panthers definitely wanted it.
They wanted it more, and that's why they're champions 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
As a consolation prize, a bit of a participation medal, Edmonton has made it to the final 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
That's not small potatoes. They've got something there, and there's talk of the window's closing and can they do this? And PK Subban is on ESPN with that Steve Smith guy. How do you not build a team around Connor McDavid? Well, PK, the same way Montreal didn't build a team around this guy. They had a few good players, but they didn't really build a team around him.
Yeah.
So it's complicated, and there's salary caps, and you're in Edmonton, and you don't have a lot of money, and not everybody wants to play there. But there they are, making it to the final 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
So back to my original point. So there was chatter that McDavid wanted to get traded. He's not getting traded. But if he was going to get traded, and this is where the fun happens because we're just having fun, and it was going to go to Montreal, what could Montreal send to Edmonton?
That kid. It would be that kid. It would be
Demidov?
Demidov.
No.
Would probably be it.
No. So there's the big 5 is Demidov, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield,
Yeah.
the defenseman, Caden Gooley,
Hudson.
and then Lane Hudson. They're the big 5.
Yes.
So they're untouchable. They're not going anywhere. That is the core. That's 5 key impact players that are not leaving the city of Montreal. If I want to think about what would happen if they had to leave. But they do have 3 goalies. Sam Montembeault, Jakub Dobeš, who's 23 years old, and Jacob Fowler.
Okay. You're talking the best player in the league.
I know. I'm not finished yet.
Okay.
I'm not finished yet.
Yeah.
So they have, right off the bat, they have 3 goalies. I'm talking about draft trade capital.
Yeah.
So Jacob Fowler is the goalie of the future, so he's not going anywhere. Sam Montembeault is doing a perfectly bang-up job on an okay team, keeping him in games.
Yeah.
He's not a Conn Smythe winner. He's not Patrick Roy. He's not Martin Brodeur, but he's in. He keeps them in every single game. Jakub Dobeš is 23 years old, hot and cold. He could probably get moved.
Yeah.
Okay. They have 6 draft choice picks in the first 3 rounds, 2 first-rounders, 2 for each round. So 1 or 2 of those could go. They've got a lot of skilled young wingers, Oliver Kapanen, Joshua Roy, and there's another kid. I can't remember what his name is. But, they don't need wingers because they have wingers. They need centers. So they can move a couple of wingers. They've got, Michael Haig is the young center they drafted last year. He's at Michigan.
Yeah.
He did 1 more year at Michigan, and then he's going to come to the AHL. They can maybe move him. So if they had to move something, there are components there that they could move. 2 defensemen, David Reinbacher, Logan Mailloux. One of those 2 guys could go because you don't have to necessarily keep both of them. It'd be good, but they don't have to. So one of them, probably Logan Mailloux and Reinbacher, with his size and grit. So, it's fun to speculate. And Montreal has a lot of capital that they could move. And maybe, if the universe lines and some crazy thing happens and he wants it that bad and really wants to go to Montreal, then that's how it could happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen, but it's fun to speculate.
I can honestly say, okay, you look back at the Gretzky trade to LA.
Yeah.
Right? It would take 3 of those untouchables and your 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
To get Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
You can say that in my mind, these guys are untouchable, but if you're getting Connor McDavid, you're going in a different direction. Suzuki, Caulfield, Demidov, they're no longer part of the equation.
Right.
It's
Slafkovsky.
Slafkovsky.
Yeah.
They're not Hudson. Your best of those 3 goaltenders, they're no longer in the equation.
Yeah.
It's going to be built around Connor McDavid and what feeds him the best.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to see 3 of those guys, a goaltender, probably the defenseman, and a forward, go, right? And then they're going to give up those 2 first-round picks to just bring him, maybe a couple other pieces, maybe another second or a third, right, in. And then they're going to build around him. Right? But what we saw in Montreal against Washington this year was Montreal lacking the size to compete physically in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing they could fix. The other, it was a lack of experience mentally, which just takes time, and there's a lack of size and grit up front.
But if you're going to give up that much to get Connor McDavid, you've got to put bodies around him that are going to protect him.
Right.
And that's where the Oilers have those bodies, and still they can't seal the deal.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at giving up a lot of times teams like Montreal, who are on a good trajectory right now, stay the course when something like that's dangled in front of them.
Yeah.
Because they have to pretty much tear it down and rebuild around him to get to where they are right now.
Yeah.
Right? So nice to think about.
It's fun to think about it.
You're better off, or the Canadians are better off, are finding 2 large wingers.
Yeah.
2 large banging
Sit tight.
wingers.
Don't panic. Rumor has it, there was a rumor that Philadelphia wanted Arbor Jacki, Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
For a first rounder. And Montreal said, no. We're good.
Yeah.
We're going to keep him because they didn't need any first round picks.
Yeah.
And they needed size. And as crazy as he is that grit that you need. Yeah. You need that one psychopath that can get on there. If someone touches your star player, he's the guy going over the boards. Now, defensively, he could be a liability. That's why he got benched for the last 9 games of the season.
Yeah.
But, it's anybody who's ever worked in hockey will tell you, the young defenseman, you have to be super patient. You have a guy with a temper, even more patient. So they like it. He's 6'4", he's over 200 pounds, and he's a psychopath, and you just need those guys in your team.
Yeah.
But
you guys are on a good trajectory. Don't mess with it. You got 6 draft picks in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, you don't have to. Now, they would move some of those draft picks to get that gritty winger.
Yeah.
If a top number 2 center, because Kirby Dach, God love him, just can't stay healthy. His knees are gone. And then Alex Newhook was supposed to be that guy, but he just hasn't panned out. He's like a 4th-line center instead. So they're trying to get that number 2 center. And Eric Engels is the Sportsnet reporter that covers Montreal.
Right.
And he's at the Bell Center or something Bell all the time, and he's talking to scouts and this. He's got an inside track, and he was on a spot podcast saying, "Look, they'll wait a season or 2 to get that guy because they know they're not going to win tomorrow anyway."
Yeah.
So they won't make a dumb trade to try and get some guy that might be able to fill it.
No.
They're going to sit tight and wait for that guy who they know can fill it.
Yeah.
And maybe Kirby Dach gets his knees fixed and maybe he becomes that number 2 center. I hope so. But, obviously they're not getting Connor McDavid. It's stupid. It's fun to speculate, but it's not going to happen.
It is. In free agency coming up, there's going to be a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure who the top free agents are.
No, he's still under contract and is coming up next year. And Elliot Friedman has his 30 thoughts or whatever.
Yeah.
And the people he's talked to, is like, no, he's not. They're not trading him. They're gonna sign him because Leo Draisaitl, Leon,
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl,
Leo.
Can't remember. He signed, Draisaitl signed, and then they're gonna get McDavid, and now they can start building around him, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't really build around a guy if you're not 100% locked in for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's tight. So I like the Oilers. I like what they're doing. Edmonton's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? They won back in the 80s when it was a completely different league.
Yeah.
Like the league was just not the same as it is today. There was no Floridas. There was barely an LA.
Yeah.
There was no Carolinas. You didn't worry about taxes. Guys played hockey in Canada because that's what you did. And so it's a completely different league now with 32 teams and more coming in Houston and Atlanta or some stupid thing. And, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I think there's a lot of young, and the funny thing is you got Sam Bennett in Florida, just won the Cup.
And the MVP, the Conn Smythe.
Yeah. Unrestricted free agent.
Yeah.
There's a guy you want to go after.
Sure. Is he a center or a winger?
Center.
So he could be your top center. And Nick Suzuki could be your number 2 center and just take some pressure off.
Brock Besser from the Canucks.
Yep.
Right winger. He's a banger.
Yeah. So
right?
there's options out there.
Yeah. There's lots of them out there. A lot of older guys out there on the market right now too.
Yeah.
And those are good for 1 year. Those are good 1 year deals to try and get people, help people grow. Right.
Jamie Benn
would be awesome.
get a little, they need experience. They get an experienced guy out there.
Yeah.
So, there's all sorts of options they can do. And, it's
The number one out there is Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
He's going to be the number one out there. I think he's going back to Toronto. The place that I've been hearing that's really, really looking at him because he's a good feed guy, and Kempe needs someone to feed him the puck is the Kings. So I can see the Kings throwing some money at him.
Or, Carolina, one of the Southern teams.
Yeah.
The funniest thing was the moment Toronto gets eliminated, and one of these Habs blog posts, they have a picture of, I think they said, hey, what about this or something? And it's Mitch Marner in the Habs uniform. So I click on the comments. Everyone's like, no, choker, no way.
Yeah.
No, they can now keep him away. We don't want this guy. Like, it was just hilarious.
But
Mitch
Marner is not a scorer. He's not your Austin Matthews.
Neither is Austin Matthews in the second round of the playoff.
Yeah, true enough.
Yeah.
But he's not he's not the scorer. He's the setup guy.
Yeah.
And that's and I think
he got the assist on Connor McDavid at the Four Nations Cup.
Exactly. Yeah. He's your setup guy.
Yeah.
So when you see him out there and they're like, he's not scoring. He's not supposed to score.
Yeah.
He's supposed to pull the defense over here and feed it back to the open guy there that's got a one-on-one with the goaltender.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way you want Mitch Marner to do for you.
Yeah.
Not
necessarily. But yeah, it's, I wouldn't want him in Montreal.
So we got the draft next weekend, 27th, 28th. And then the following Wednesday, free agency opens up. So hockey's going to be exciting.
For a few days.
For about a week.
Yeah.
For about a week, maybe 10 days, right? And that's kind of cool. But then it's going to shut down until September. You're going to see free agent signings over the summer and teams retooling, recalibrating, figuring out where they can get their guys
Dumping some veterans here, some older higher salaries here.
Get rid of some salaries, clear.
So I don't even know who the top consensus. It's not a big draft year. There's no Connor Bedard, Connor McDavid this year.
No,
so
you got the Islanders. Islanders are picking first with the Sharks and the Blackhawks. So these guys here, I think you're gonna get quantity over quality this year.
Yes.
So these guys here, they're gonna fill out roles.
Yeah.
And not be stars because I don't think there is a star in the.
I have no idea. You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
You never know.
You never know. One of these guys could catch fire, but you never know.
All right, we done with hockey for the year?
We're done with hockey. I'm trying to think.
Go Abby Canucks.
Go Abby Canucks. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carey Price. Wherever you are, with your knee, playing golf. Good for you. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you're that guy I ran into at the Joe Glushka Invitational Tournament, thank you for coming up and saying you love the show. I apologize for not asking you your name. So please like, subscribe, and comment. Say, hey, I was that guy. I love you guys. I really appreciate to hear from you. And it was very thoughtful of you to come up and say hi. So I really like that. And Garnet at work, who came across our show online and said, hey, are you going off topic? I'm like, what? So yeah. Like, subscribe, and comment. That's it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to Off Topic with Tim and Matt, where we always go
off topic.